Welcome to Short Scale Modelling. This is part 1 of Italeri Messerschmitt Bf110 G4. So the 110 is one of my favourite aircraft, so I'm looking forward to this build. The artwork on this box is quite nice. At the back there you have a painting guide, but I do believe there's other variants within the instructions as well. There's two main sprues to the kit. The first sprue here, as you can see, the wings and tail. They look nicely clean and moulded. The next sprue is the main sprue for the fuselage, weapons, landing gear, and so on. Next we have the canopy. The canopy is made up to one of the little two bits, but I'll get into that more when I build the kit. And then this kit also comes with a photo etch. To me, the photo etch is pointless, but there you go. This kit comes with it. If you enjoy using photo etch, then you have some here. Next, we have the decals. There's one or two little decals to go on here. As you can see, a couple of different options. But I'll have a look at the variants when I look at the instructions. And so it is the instructions here. So we'll just open up. First of all, you have the paintless sprue map and the normal do's and don'ts on the page before going into the build itself, building the cockpit first, then into the fuselage, then going on to the wings and placing the wings on the fuselage, and then all the little bits and pieces and sundries that go onto the aircraft. There's one or two little options here. There's different aerials and that to fit as well if you wish. Again, I think it depends on the variant, and here are the variants here. So on the first page is the German Winter 1944, and the next page, the variant B, is Hungary 1945. As you can see though, they're all very similar. And the next page we have the German again in 1945. That's variant C, and the last one, variant D, is for Germany 1944. So fairly all standard paint markings, depending on what camouflage you're going to do. I'm going to stick with variant A, I think. The last page here is for the Austrian variant 1945, January, that says on the instructions. Before we go on with the build, I should point out I was debating whether to show you this build or not. I didn't have a particularly good time with the build. I didn't enjoy the kit, and I didn't make a very good job of it at all. So I was debating whether I should actually just put it up, because it's one of those builds that just got away from me. But in the end, I decided, no, even if it looks a mess, I'm going to show it. If someone can learn through whatever mistakes I've made, then albeit. So I'll just go and get these all cleaned up and put on the primer, then I'll come back and start the build. So I'll start off painting the cockpit, and the first colour I'm using is Humbrol's 240 RML O2 Grey, and then it's Humbrol 33 matte black for the instrument panels, and those are highlighted with Humbrol's 34 white, matte white. And then I'm using Humbrol's 83 ochre for the seats, and there appears to be some sort of cargo net or something within the cockpit that I'm using the same colour for. And on the wheels, I'm using the same colours of the grey and black for the tyres. So now it's on to the actual assembly. As you can see there is various little bits and pieces to make up the cockpit. Now I'm going to point out the photo etch parts I barely used. I had a look at them and I couldn't see the point of them whatsoever. Now I know you've heard me before saying I'm not a fan of photo etch part, but particularly in this case it is absolutely pointless. You won't see the parts, and they're far too small. Anyway, I can't see how that adds to the build. So anyway, the assembly of the cockpit is fairly straightforward. Once the seat goes in, there's a back panel that goes in to break up the cockpit. And this back panel is separated into two pieces, and it just stacks onto the other at the top. and this is what I'm placing on now. And on this panel, there's a little brace that connects the panel to the cockpit pilot seat as well. I would imagine that this is a brace of some kind that holds everything in place. Fortunately, if I zoom in, the quality's not quite there, so I do apologise for that. There's not much I can do about that with the system that I use. But hopefully you can get the general idea how it's meant to look. On the centre part of the cockpit, there's this sort of grate or cargo net type thing that goes on. Now these are one of the parts that has the photo etch part. There are two little brackets that go on the side. You'll never see them once it's all built into place. I just do not see the point of them whatsoever. There is another dividing panel that goes in front of this cargo net. The rear bulkhead also has the carriage for the weapon system as well. So the piece I'm placing on here now is the bracket that will hold the weapons in place. And they were painted in Humbrol's 53 gunmetal. Now, full disclosure, I put these on, but I decided to take them off later on in the build because I noticed there would be a problem painting the fuselage while these were attached. Next is the instrument panel. Now, again, this is not one that had a photo etch part on it. Now, you would have to file down the markings on the plastic to attach the photo etch, and the photo etch has the exact same marking as the plastic part. So again, I don't see the point of using it. So now the weapons are attached, I can place on the bulkhead. There's a little location strip. It just runs down the lip of the main platform there. For the side instrument panels inside the cockpit, there is a couple of strips of photo etch that I did use. But in retrospect, after I fitted them, again, like the other photo etch parts, there was no need for this whatsoever. They could have just went onto the actual fuselage, marrying up the plastic to plastic instead of the plastic to photo etch. I'm just astounded that there's photo etch there. There's just no need for it. Nevertheless, once I placed the instrument panel onto the photo etch part, it was time to place that in. Now this didn't fit very well at all, and this was just the start of my problems with this kit. The running markings that hold the photo etch part were slightly in the wrong place, so I had to do a little bit of doctoring to get these to fit. So I just took my knife and ran it over the fuselage raised area to get these photo etch parts fitted. I'm using once more Humbrol 240 RLM02 grey for the struts for the landing gear. Then it's back to the fuselage on the rear part of the fuselage. There's the little tail end has to be made up beforehand. As you can see, the two halves are pushed together and it sort of looks like a little socket at the end. Before I place that on, the rear landing gear goes in. Now it's sat quite nicely within the fuselage. It didn't need any adjustments. It just popped in there without a problem. Next to go in is the cockpit capsule itself. That went in okay. There was a slight adjustment needed, but nothing that you wouldn't expect when you're building a cockpit. That's just making sure it all lines up, but I didn't have to modify it. I will say it would have fitted better without the photo etch part. And the last thing to do for this part one is to close up the fuselage. This lined up okay. I was a bit apprehensive about it, but it was okay. It will need a few clamps though, just to hold it together. So if you haven't done so already, why don't you head over to the channel and have a look at my other builds. And while you're there, subscribe to the channel. And if you do so, please do so. Hit the notification bell, that way you'll be kept up to date not only with this build, but all my future builds as well, of course. Hit the like button. Don't be afraid to leave a comment, and of course you can share the video. But for now, thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.